Dear friends, there is no way we can read and reflect upon today's gospel story without being surprised, without being amazed, and sometimes even shocked. You see, the woman, the Canaanite woman, goes to Jesus and makes a very serious request. But before making a request, she addresses Jesus with the following words. In Greek, it is Kyrie, that is Lord, but it can also mean Son. But when you read the entire gospel passage, it is always Kyrie, Kyrie, Kyrie. So curious invocative. So which means it can also be translated as Lord, 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 because it is the same way, the same word in Greek. Now, she begins by addressing Jesus as Lord, Son of David. So, which is a messianic title, Son of David. So, we don't know how it came to acknowledge that this man was Lord and Son of David. But that is how she addresses Jesus. So, just like the blind man Bartimaeus was calling Son of David, Son of David. So this Canaanite woman in the Gentile territory acknowledges Jesus as Son of David, using a messianic title. My daughter is tormented by an evil spirit. So she is possessed. She needs deliverance. She needs to be well again. So this is something very serious. And it's coming from a mother who cares about the well-being of her daughter. So it is a prayer of intercession. A very serious request. What is the attitude of Jesus? At the beginning, no way, nothing. Silence radio. Strange. So, does it mean that someone who is not well, who is possessed by the devil, so this one, that should be the response from Jesus? And we know that Jesus has come to undo the works of the devil. He has been performing exorcism, casting out demons. And this daughter of the Canaanite woman is also created in the image of God, just like other human beings whom he has been casting the evil spirit out of them. So, but Jesus says, nothing, absolutely nothing. And then the second time, what happens? It is now the disciples who come to Jesus, begging him, please give her what she wants. But you know what is the reason? The reason is not that the daughter is possessed and make sure that she is well again. No, 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 no. For the disciples, because she's shouting after us. She's disturbing us with a cry, with shouts. So if that woman was not shouting and was insisting, for these disciples, it wouldn't have been a problem. It is because she's disturbing them. They want to be at peace. Please, give her. Because she's too much. She's going to blow off our heads. That is another surprising attitude by the disciples of Jesus. And then Jesus says he has only come for the lost sheep of Israel. So that will have been also something very strange. Very strange. Now, the third time when the woman comes back to Jesus, after hearing Jesus say that it is not good to give the food of the children to the house dogs. Wow. You know, some people, they could have got discouraged from the beginning, and on the top of that, using that metaphor, that image of house dogs under the table, whether you by that you mean we are house dogs or not, but just using that image of house dogs, it will have made the woman furious. But on the contrary, that woman uses that opportunity to remind Jesus. But in fact, the house dogs, they are also fed with the little things that fall from the table of the masters. So they can also eat from what the children are eating or the people in the house. Now Jesus is amazed at what the woman said, because indirectly it is reminding Jesus of what had happened in the Old Testament with the prophets of Israel. That although their mission was primarily to Israel, as himself is saying, to the lordship of Israel before his resurrection, you remember the story of Prophet Elijah. Elijah left the land of Israel to go where? To go to the same territory, more or less, of Lebanon today. To meet whom? The widow of Sarepta. The widow of Sarepta, close to the territory of Sidon. So, although she was a Gentile, she benefited from the generosity or from the ministry of Prophet Elijah. Not only that, the widow of Sarepta got the food she needed, but when her son died, Elijah brought him back to life. So, a prophet like Elijah, although he was sent on mission for the children of Israel, he was able to also give healing to the Gentiles. And it is the same thing with Naaman the Syrian under the prophet Elisha. Because Naaman the Syrian was suffering from leprosy. But the prophet of Israel named Elisha, the disciple of, or the successor, the disciple of Elijah, brought healing to him. So even in the Old Testament, we have examples of non-Jews or non-Israelites receiving healing through the ministry of the prophets of Israel. So that is also the reminder this woman is giving back to Jesus. That yes, you are greater than Elijah and Elisha. So why can't I, and of course my daughter, benefit from your ministry, your prophetic ministry, your healing ministry? So now Jesus acclaims the faith of that woman. And from the distance, the daughter of the Canaanite woman is healed. So with this Gentile woman, we can at least learn something about perseverance in prayer. Perseverance in prayer. You know, what we have read today in the gospel is what happens every day in the life of the church. It's just a matter of how long this period lasts. You know, there are many times you come, you pray, you make petitions, and you have the impression that God is saying nothing, no word. You are very serious. You are insisting, nothing. It happens. You say, what is happening? Is it that I have not clearly made my request? Is it that God is more focused on other people? Is it that I am praying in a church like some denominations will say that, yeah, you know the problem, you are not getting what you want because you are praying in a church which is not a spirit-filled church. So it is not a church with the Holy Spirit. You are praying in a synagogue of Satan or with idol worshippers. It's the church of idol worshippers. That's why God does not listen to your prayers. So you begin to wonder what is happening. That I've been making petitions, I've been sending mass intentions, and looks as if nothing is happening. That happens. But there is also a moment, it happens in the church. You go and see a priest, or you go and see a minister in the church, and the way he answers to you, you know, some people, they say, okay, this is my last time to come to that chaplaincy. This is my last time to come to that church because what he said frustrated me. There are many people like that. He came, the priest said something. Sometimes it's even just to test the person, to see the seriousness of the person. The person, what? I came. I drove all that distance. And I took how many taxis to come to your parish for you to pray for a relative of mine, a friend of mine, or for myself. And these are the words you are uttering. Bye-bye, stay with your church. If you go to other denominations today, you are going to find a lot of Catholics who say that they were not well received by a priest. This Canaanite woman, she did not go back. She remained there, she insisted, and she got what she had. So dear friends, this woman, through her, we can learn a lot about perseverance in prayers. So let us ask the Holy Spirit to give us that spirit of persevering in prayer. Once we know that Jesus is there, like the wonderful song I've been singing, we used to sing when we were in the seminary, I will never let you go unless you bless me. I will never let you go unless you bless me. So I will never let Jesus go until I insist, and then I say, okay, Lord, I know you can do something for me. God will answer, surely. But his pedagogy is different from ours. The timing God is going to answer to your prayers is also God's time. And God's time is always the best. So may the Holy Spirit strengthen us so that despite the moments we are journeying in darkness and misunderstandings, we will keep our faith and always persevere in prayers, especially prayers of intercession.